So, good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Gary Shepherd. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Gary Shepherd from Sprint Enterprise Technology, and we've got Bob Freeman with us as well from Voyant. And today we're going to take you through integration. And before we get going, there's a couple of things to just pick up. The first one being on the bit of housekeeping. And so if you're currently running and if you see this control panel on your screen, then if you click the little white arrow, it will minimize the GoToMeeting control panel. Because we've got so many people involved in the meeting with us today on the webinar, we're unable to have your microphones on, so we're not able to field any questions. However, I suggest that following on from this, if you do get any questions on anything you hear or see, then please do get in touch with either Bob or myself. So let's just run you through what we're talking about. So we're here to talk to you today about the integration between Fastrak and Voyant. And Fastrak as a client reporting and client data collection service. What do? Well, the first thing is we often collect data. So we collect data from multiple platforms and also from back office systems. And the beauty of this solution is that that data is then available automatically and instantly available in Voyant for you to use in your cash flow. The way we collect data is that there's no rekeying of any information to be done. It's all brought through automatically. So you know if you open up Fastrak or Voyant today that you're looking at the data that we picked up from your providers and your platforms last night, which means that you're always running the latest versions of that data. And the platform partners that we currently work for and work with are here, and you can see that list. And so if you have data on any of those, we can bring that data and make it instantly available into Voyant. Once we've got that data, we give you some functionality within Fastrak that allows you to, where we've collated that data, to get some brief overviews. So we give you what we call Fastrak Dashboards, which are highly configurable. So every person in the business can have their own login to the system, to Fastrak, which means they can configure what they see. So it's absolutely configurable to each user. We can give you some high-level views for the business owners and for the advisors, where they can look down on the data that we've collated. And we can then start to drill into the detail, so things such as like a client dashboard or the funds. But I'll take you through those and I'll show you those in a bit more detail when we go and log into Fastrak. The other thing we give you is a secure client portal. So for those of you that don't have a client portal from your back office supplier, then we can provide you with a secure client portal. And the big advantage here is that because within Fastrak we can merge family members into a single account. So at the moment you might have a Mr. and Mrs., some trust, a SIP, and other family members. They might be linked on platform or in the back office, but you can't get that single view. So it means that Mr. Has to log, when he logs in, Mr. gets to see his and joint. When Mrs. logs in, she sees hers and joint, but they don't get to see that consolidated family view. Well, now they can using the Fastrak Secure Client Portal. We also allow you to deliver client reports up to the client portal. So any report that you want to deliver for a client can be delivered securely up to the portal. The client gets an email telling them that report has been delivered. All they need to do is click on the link and sign in. So there's no sending of unsecured documents via PDF or even having to post them. You obviously can upload any Voyant cash flow report. So let's say, for example, you've just had your review with your client and you've done that in person, which most of you will do. You'll do a face-to-face meeting. You will leave them with a copy of their Voyant cash flow report. What you can then do is actually upload them a copy of that report into the client portal, so that when little Johnny or the dog eats or draws on that Voyant report and the client calls you up and says, well, I've lost it, or dog ate it, or little Johnny drew on it, can I have another copy? There's actually a copy for them up in the client portal. They can go and get that. We also give them the ability to have this snapshot of their investment data and performance information, so they can log in 24/7, and bearing in mind the data is being updated daily, they'll get updated valuations on the client portal, so they can go and see their data whenever they want to, not just every 6 months. And the clients can also upload any personal documents. So, for example, if you need a copy of a bank statement, maybe the client's got a couple of Santander accounts with their £80,000 in because they were getting their 3%, then that can be uploaded. The client can scan it, upload it into the client portal. You as their advisor or admin will get notification to say that's been done. And then you can do the same thing then for the client. So if you need to upload any personal documents for the clients, you can do so, and that will then let them see any documents that you want them to see. And again, notification can be sent to them to tell them that it's been there. And the client portal is highly configurable, so it's really up to you what you let your clients see or don't see. So that's really it with PowerPoint. I don't want to PowerPoint us to death. We're going to move on now and go and have a look at the at Fastrak itself. So Fastrak is a web-based application. So it means that the implementation is relatively simple. We just need to go off and get your data, but there's no installations to do. There's no installs, and then you can give as many logins as you need to your staff. And when you log into Fastrak, what it does is it brings you into a series of dashboards that are all configurable. So when we log in, we can decide what we want to see. So, for example, in this instance, we'll keep this really simple, and we'll say that what we want to see is those sections, or no, actually what we want to see is that, and we'll just rearrange it a little bit, and we'll have recent client accounts there and news there. Then that's what you see. So it is entirely up to you what you see when you log in. As you can see here on the left hand side, I'm looking at a widget that's telling me the current AUM, and that's the AUM for the business. That assets under management chart is configured, and you decide what you want to include. So at the minute I'm just showing one particular platform because maybe that platform is coming in. But if I decide I want to show other data in there, I say what I want to include and it will bring that data through. The red line being capital invested across all of your clients, the blue line being the current value. And obviously we always want the blue line to be above the red. We can see our asset allocation, recent client accounts. We can see funds, and we can also see our data import status. So we can see when the data was last collected and when it was last imported into your system. We can then start to drill into a bit of data. So if we look at the funds dashboard, this will bring us into a breakdown of all of the funds that we currently have or our clients are invested in. And we can then drop into any of that detail. So for example, my Invesco Perpetual has got 3.3 million. If I drop into that, it will then give me some data. So it's telling me things such as the price chart, giving me a breakdown of funds by asset allocation, by sector, geography, top 10 holdings. I get some fund information. And if I need to drop out and get a fact sheet or a key document, then absolutely I can do so. And for those of you that might be using any of the dimensional funds, where you know you only want page 3 of an 8-page fact sheet, you can actually upload that against that fund in Fastrak, and that's what will be here. But it will mean that when the client's logging in on portal, if they have a holding in that fund and they click it, it will deliver that fact sheet to them. So you get to say what the client will see. Biggest and most important part of this particular dashboard is this section at the bottom, which is the investments, which is putting all of this data. So investment name, the account ownership, the wrapper names, gains, percentage gains, TERs, all of that data is brought together automatically. So it's telling you at any point who's got a holding in this fund, in what tax wrapper, on what platform, and what their gain or loss may have been, and their yield, TERs, all the rest of that. Any of that data then, if you want to, you can then export that data, take it out, click the Excel button, and it will then export all that data into Excel. You can go and mess around with it to your heart's content. But it's collating all that data across all of your data sources. If we then drop it a bit further, a bit more detail, we can then drop into, for example, the client dashboard. And what we find is that we find advisors will use this on a regular basis because it's actually easier here to get a quick snapshot view of your client than it is in most of the back offices or anywhere else, because this is the consolidated view of this client. So what it's doing is it's telling you what their current asset allocation is. It's giving you their assets under management chart over any given time period. It's telling you what tax wrappers they have. But again, one of the important ones here is this bit, which is telling us that for this particular client might be on the phone saying they want to go off and buy their son a new car, need £20,000. So you can look at it and go, well, you know what, your GIA, well, yeah, okay, so it's got a gain of 11,000. Well, potentially won't touch that because it could incur some CGT. But your ISA's doing okay. You've made £37,000 on that. Why don't we take it from your ISA? So it's giving you instant access to client data so that you don't have to say to your client, well, that's interesting that you want to buy your son a car. Give me 20 minutes and I'll go off and have a look at your file. This is bringing it all together for you. Now, one of the issues that we found that people are struggling with is that when you have data and you have partners and they have data or investments on multiple platforms, then, for example, if Mr. logs in onto Transact, Mr. can see his and joint, but then to see Mrs.'s, he's got to log out and log in as Mrs. to go and see Mrs. and joint. And what we do is we give you that ability of being able to bring those clients together. Once we've done that, and apologies there, once we've done that, we can then take that data. So let's go and have a look. So let's go and find you a client then that has is just one. So if we come into client logins and we go and pick up Luke, so we'll go into here. We go and look at Luke's file at the moment. What it's doing is it'll just show us what Luke would see if he logged in right now. So Luke, without being joined, this is what he would see. But we know that actually Luke has a partner. So let's go off into Luke's file and we'll pick Luke up and we will merge Luke with his partner. Yes, and I'm looking for so let's find a different one for you. So let's bring in Leah. So Luke is lives with Leah. They might have different names, but actually I want to bring them together. So we'll bring them in, and then what happens is that in fact we brought in three. So it could be that Elaine's already we brought in Madison and Leah, and so now what you've got is you've got the three. If we come back, so for example, Leah might be the daughter. So let's now come into setup. If we come back and look at Luke's login now, and we come to Luke, and we make Luke a master, so that means he can see more than just his own, and preview the client portal there, you can now see that what happens is the ability for the client to be able to see all of their holdings. So I'm just going to quit out of that, so it stops giving us messages. So here you got then the valuation. So now it's telling Luke that actually his personal and joint held assets are worth 2 million, but actually the total holdings in the account are worth that. And because Luke is now able to see the family wealth. And that's really quick, very easy, but it does give you absolute control over being able to supply your clients with an online portal where they can go off and see their valuations and their data whenever they want to. So we're here in the client portal. So the client portal that we provide is white labeled, sits on your website, and you decide which clients to give it to. But when you're here, it means that you can do things such as we're looking at this as the client. So when we come in now, we can look at anything that the client has, and we can see values, contributions, gains, but that's entirely up to you. And again, how much detail you show them. It may be that all you want to do is just show them the latest values. They can download any of that data, so that data can be downloaded into, it downloads it automatically into Excel. So bearing in mind, if we're looking at this, we're looking at it for the client, as the client, so therefore they could download that data into Excel. We give them report libraries, so any reports that you've uploaded would via Fastrak will be stored here automatically. You can give them private documents, so if you needed to upload something just for that particular client, maybe it's a maybe you want to give them a CGT report and it's just a report for Luke, or Luke, you've called Luke and said, you know, I need your, prior to the review, I need a copy of your Santander bank accounts, so the current values. Luke might go off and print a statement and scan it and then upload it. And it makes it very simple. It means that all they need to do is the client logs into the portal, clicks add files and simply uploads a document into the client portal. You can then get notification that the client's done that, but you can also upload any documents you upload for the client personally. They'll automatically get an email as well. We then have what we call general documents, so that might be newsletters, market overviews, thought pieces. So, for example, you might only be seeing your client twice a year, but you want to keep in touch with them. So you want to keep maybe once a month, give them something to keep you at the forefront of their mind. So this allows you to upload documents, generic documents to groups. So, for example, on a market overview, you might have a different market overview for your top level clients, maybe those with more than £500,000 under management, than you do with those with less than £500,000. So you can upload it into groups and make it available across each of the clients. So what this is doing is it's giving you access to data. We're bringing all of that data together for you. There's no rekeying of that data. And once we've got it, it's instantly available for you to give that data back to your client. So your clients can then have an instant access to the client portal. So back into Fastrak. So just to recap, what it's done is it's giving you all this data. So as in we've gone off and collected it all for you. And once we've collected it once, we then go back every night. So again, there's no need for you to set any schedules or remember to do anything. We're just going to go off and do that for you every day. So you know, whenever you come into this in the morning, you can instantly see when your data was last collected and when it was last imported into the system. And we've done all of this, and we're talking about the integration with Voyant. So let's go and have a look at how that then impacts on the client in Voyant. So here's my client in Voyant. So I've got Joe Desh here in Voyant with his base plan and the version that we created today, this morning for Joe. And actually what you've got is, you can see here, if we go to the overview, we can see that Joe's got a number of events. His employment details, and employment would have been brought through if we had integration with the back office and you've entered in the back office. But we brought through mainly, if you look at things such as investments, you can see here that we've got the ISAs and details of what they have. So we can go off and that's the data that Fastrak is going to update. So we can see we have the ISA, we can see the current balance, and we can see that for all of their, and there's their ledger, so you can see it for their estate planning, if it was the ISAs, so you can see what it is. There's the ones for Alicia. So all of this data has been pre-populated, so we're bringing that across. Once we have that, if we come back into here, then what we need to do is a number of things. One is we want to actually merge in the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick Joe and we're going to import. So now we're going to import some data. We want to select Fastrak and we're going to go off and pick up our client. So we're going to pick up Joe and we're going to import that data, and it's going to give us a number of options. So one, we can merge it into the base plan of the current record, create a new base plan in the current client record, overwrite the current client's existing plans, or create a new client record. So we give you all the options depending on what you're doing. If this is a client that you saw 6 months ago and now we've just started picking up your data for you, this is a quick way of getting that data into the client file. So we're merging in, and it's a true merge. So if the client has taken out a new tax wrapper and that's been logged on platform, that data has been automatically pushed into Fastrak overnight. So it would then bring that new tax wrapper into the mix. So what you've got then is the full flexibility of being able to bring in and merge data in here. And you're all aware of what of what Voyant and how Voyant works, and the benefits of using Voyant when you're looking at cash flow. You may have done some what-if planning for this client. So we've got one here that's showing what would happen if the client retired early. So they don't retire at 65. We bring it forward a couple of years, and instantly you can see that there's a shortfall. And then from here we can, that obviously you can drop down to look at it by assets, by type, by liquid or non-liquid assets. And again, client might think that they're all right, but when we look at liquid assets, we can see that actually they run out of money at 86. It's the fact that it is their property that is helping them get through, and it's their property that's keeping them going past the age of 90. But actually, their money runs out here if they retire early, runs out at 87. So the client, whilst they might think they're okay, actually they're not. So you can see here that The value here is being able to bring in and update this data. We want you to spend as much time talking to your clients about the cash flow, about what are their goals, what are they spending this year, has anything changed. That's what we want you to be spending your time talking to your clients about. You shouldn't have to be spending 20 minutes rekeying data, reading it from one screen on a platform and manually entering it to update prices, update values in another. The best way to do that is to try and automate that process. That's what we've tried to do. And in fact, that's hopefully what we've achieved. So that's all we have here. And what we'll do is we'll make this video available online and we'll get that out to you. So just to go over what the next steps are. Well, first of all, we'd just like to say thank you for taking the time out of your day today. We hope you found the session useful. If you do have any questions regarding what you've seen or anything you've heard, then please don't hesitate to contact either Bob or myself. You'll be getting an email out this afternoon which will detail to you both of our contact details. We'll upload a copy of this presentation. It'll go up onto the Sprint YouTube channel. So you'll be able to, and we'll put a link into that in the email, so you'll be able to go online and download that at any point. But obviously, in the short term, any more information that you'd like, please feel free to go to the Plan with Voyant or the sprintenterprise.co.uk, where we explain on both our sites what we do, how we work, and we also talk about costs and everything else. So that's really it from us, and I hope that that's okay. I hope it's giving you a good feeling of what we do and how we could help your business. I'd just like to finish by saying thank you very much once again, and you all take care.